I turned up for a therapy session and something really unusual happened. Something unique in my experience happened because I sat down and, was asked, okay, what's here? What do you want to work with? What are you feeling? And I explained, I'd been diagnosed with depression. It had been going on cyclically for a long, long time. And that I just felt, pretty hopeless in life. Like life was pointless. There was no juice. I can remember describing it like it's walking through a grey fog, chewing cardboard. And I was asked, okay, so, emotionally, what's here now? Now, I was used to that question from psychologists and psychiatrists, and normally they would want the story about the way that I was feeling. They'd want to know the background. They'd want to know the references, try to figure out why you're feeling this way, and it would turn into a dialogue that seemed to just be endless, seemed to get nowhere. But this time with journey work, what are you feeling? And I named an emotion, and the response came back and it shocked me. The response was simply, great. So just feel that. Now, that kind of fried my brain. No one in my life had ever told me that, From growing up at the youngest age, what I'd had was there are good emotions and there are bad emotions. There are some that are allowed and there are some that are not allowed. And what I'd not recognized over the years was that so many emotions had just been, swallowed back. I'd pushed them down into my body. I denied they existed. I definitely didn't have a name for them. But on this fateful day, I named an emotion and this comment came back, great. So just feel that. And it was as if it didn't make sense. And then just, close your eyes. And so welcome that emotion, feel it everywhere in your body, let it flood through, just open with it. And I wasn't very good at it, so I started to tell a story about how I felt rather than to feel the emotion itself. And of course, the advice comes back is stop the story, just feel the emotion. And it took a little while, it took some getting used to, for my body just to let down and to trust that it was okay to feel emotions that I had labeled as anything from negative through to annihilative, dangerous. And yet still there was I suppose because I'd tried everything and, I was just at a point of hopelessness, at a point of giving up. I thought, well, nothing to lose, just open. And the hopelessness came like a hopelessness I'd never experienced in my life before. And then hopelessness underneath that. I was asked, so if you feel all of that, if you allow all of that, and there was something deeper, what might that be? It is like sinking into a different layer and a different layer of emotion. I had never experienced this in living memory. And deeper emotions arose. And learning slowly here, like baby steps, I opened the body to feel what was here. Pointlessness just turned into complete overwhelm. Now, overwhelm was something that I would have run from in my life before. If I'd felt overwhelmed, I would have got busy. I would have done anything from, work to sport to wheel spinning, pointless activity. I would have done anything to have avoided the feeling of overwhelm. But this time, overwhelm, okay, just welcome overwhelm. And underneath that, I hit anger and rage like I'd not felt for years. And again, the invitation was here, pre-framed with, great, you're doing wonderfully. So to feel emotions, the feedback was, this is good, this is healthy. And emotions like these, anger and rage that I had avoided, like death since childhood, they came flooding through my body, felt, uncomfortable, felt obliterative. Deeper than that, what's here? If you feel that fully, what's next? What's deeper than this? And then fear came, terror came, and it kind of burned through the body like a white hot flame. And still the same question, you're doing great. If you just allow that, if you allow all of that, what's here, what's next? And eventually dropping down through really intense emotions, I just came to nothing. Like there was no emotion possible. There was just a huge velvety black blank canvas, like a universal void. And I said, there's nothing here. Same question. Okay, great, wonderful. So if you surrendered into nothing, if you surrendered into the heart of nothing, if you allowed all nothing to be here, a universe of nothing to be here, how would that feel? If you surrendered right into the heart of it, what might be coming through this? If there were cracks appearing or pinholes, what might come through? And I kind of fell into a deeper state, and I said, well, if I let go into this, then death is here. And fear of death arose. Same comment. Beautiful. So fear of death is here. And if you surrendered completely into death, if you let go into death, then what? That was a question I never thought I'd be asked in this lifetime. And I guess I was so beyond the striving, beyond the efforting to hang on to a semblance of normality or sanity or life itself, that I just let go. And I went internally, okay, if this dies, this thing I've called me dies, then so be it. It's enough, I'm ready. And I let go, and the experience was extraordinary. It was as if the body melted, the body dissolved. It was as if the notions that I'd clung to, the ideas of who I thought I was, started to dissolve and melt and fall away. It was as if everything I'd held dear was stripped away, just like this dissolution of self. And then absolute nothing. And so the question came seemingly from somewhere massively distant. So when death has had its way with you, what's here? And the question seemed nonsensical. It was not that I'd been brought up to believe in an afterlife, not to believe in a God or a heaven or a hell, any of this. And yet there was undeniably some presence here. And I said, well, something still is. Then okay, so let go into that. Let go fully into that. And it was like a crashing through. Light came into the darkness. Light showed itself as being the essential nature of darkness. And I fell into an obliterative love. A peace that I barely could have conceived of prior to that in my life. And I started to sob. I said, it's divine, it's God, it's love, it's peace, it's omniscience. There's silent knowing, silent awareness. It was as if everything that I'd ever striven for, everything that I'd ever looked for on the outside, was showing up on the inside as the essence in me. And I was guided through a campfire process to empty out childhood hurts and upsets. My parents were there, and I remember yelling at both of them, getting deeply upset at some childhood memory, and coming to a forgiveness and such huge letting go.